Welcome back. The WikiLeaks story has grabbed headlines around the world this month. Many are concerned that it gives wikis a bad name. After all, wikis, which are simply websites that can be edited by its users, can be used for good, like helping a company build its brand. In fact, our next guests have written a book on the topic. Sean Moffitt and Mike Dover are co-authors of Wikibrands, Reinventing Your Company in a Customer-Controlled Marketplace. Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Thanks for inviting.
We apparently live in a wiki world, and let's talk about the meaning that has for companies who kind of lost control of their brand. It is sort of in the general domain. What do you do with that if you're trying to manage it?
Yeah, and part of the thesis of our book, I think, is that necessarily a bad thing? I know there's a number of people around the world right now that don't like WikiLeaks being out there, but in our book, losing a bit of control, maybe not all of your control, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right. In fact, a lot of the value really comes from your users and your community. And we get in a lot of different areas. So it's not just the marketing part.
Yeah.
Your R&D can come in from your community. In fact, if you're really listening to your customers, you know what your next innovation should be, because they're saying, this software package would be great if it did X and Y. You should be developing X and Y if people are talking about it.
Now, you two cowboys have to be the luckiest cowboys in the world, because you've got this massive media focus on WikiLeaks. No one ever heard of the thing 6 weeks ago. Now he gets caught sleeping with a sheep. He's thrown in jail. The story goes on, press every day, and you're launching a book right into that. That's perfect for you. Do you think it'll accelerate your sales?
Being in a marketing background, you can't help but spoof or have something, lurch off of something else. But it was funny when we actually thought about the title of the book. Wiki had become something that had been 3 or 4 years since Don Tapscott had written his book, Wikinomics, and we were thinking, should we call it Wiki? And really, it's true of the book, but WikiLeaks can't but help get us more sales, we think.
Right. And I think it also changes, it helps change what the word means. Because originally it just meant quick. It's the Hawaiian word for quick. Then it meant a document that people can go up and change. It's sort of changing now to be a philosophy of people collaborating. Because this thing, WikiLeaks, is not a wiki, right? And people aren't going onto those cables about the sheep and changing details on it, right? It's just a matter of people are sharing information through technology in a way they hadn't done it before.
Let's talk about a possible downside. I mean, you could see the temptation, especially for consumer products company, to really use social media to be in touch with their consumers, as you say, find out what they want. The problem with that is that the best innovations come not from us. We don't know what we don't have yet. We would never have invented the minivan or the BlackBerry or any of these great new advances, or the mini computer for that matter. Will this actually stall R&D and innovation because companies become ultra focused on what they're doing now?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think you need to listen properly. So if you're asking people, if you're asking your community, what should Tide smell like next year? Then that's your problem. You're asking the wrong questions. But if you're looking at how things should be innovating, by looking at all of the conversations going on, and not just focusing directly on what you're doing, you're going to get great innovations.
How do you stop misinformation? In other words, if my competitor, I'm in the mutual fund industry, put up a Wiki mutual fund board, I wonder if somehow there wouldn't be some misinformation laid into that. And you have to constantly watch it, edit it, police it?
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that companies make. I mean, this is not a build it and walk away. You need somebody curating your own content. You need somebody monitoring. And the important thing, too, is this is a 24/7 world. I mean, if you look at the most effective businesses that work in these spaces, they've got people moderating that content, around the clock. And so it's out there. The question is, do you want to be part of that conversation, or do you want to have somebody else control that?
We've only got a little bit of time here, but how are companies doing on this front? Are Canadian companies better than any others in general? Are companies using wikis the way they need to?
Well, there's a lot of the examples in the book. We're proud that they are Canadian. I mean, Lululemon has done a great job at it. They have a good community process behind it. And their stock price, would you be interested in, has done very well.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware. But that's a lot to do with the earnings, actually.
Right. And well, where they get their earnings, because it's a premium-priced brand. There's it's a very good demographic to look at. And the people that like yoga, the people living in those neighborhoods with the $5,000 strollers, they're the people going out, being the ambassadors for that.
Right.
I do think there is a key punctuation here that companies that engage tend to drive more business value over time. And whether it's a chicken or egg argument, those that don't engage also tend to decline in value. So.
Thanks for being here, guys. The book is called Wikibrands, Reinventing Your Company in a Customer-Controlled Marketplace. Sean Moffitt, Mike Dover. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's time now for our Priceless Moment, which today is all about being young and restless, curious, and maybe even a little greedy.